Sam did not know what to do. He was in a fix, and he did not know how to get out of it. While in that crossroad, his brain decided to comfort him. As already proven by science, once a person dies, his brain remains alive for a few seconds after, and shows him a flash of his life, especially the good moments. Most people believe that this is the way the brain comforts itself, and this was exactly what Sam's brain did. Before the whole Transformer thing, he was not living the best of life, but he was definitely free of the fear of imminent death. Sam's life had taken such a dramatic turn after he bought his car and wanted to sell his ancestors' lens. So, at this crossroads, in order to help him cope with the trauma, Sam's brain showed him a flash of his life. It happened in an instant, but Sam was able to appreciate such a simple life, free from otherworldly threats and complications. However, after this brief moment of calm, Sam quickly realized that the problem was still there in front of him. Optimus Prime was weak and looking at him to make the decision, while Megatron loomed over them. Optimus Prime told him to input the Allspark into his chest. Even though it would kill him, Optimus Prime was willing to do anything to save the Earth and stop the Decepticons from getting their hands on the Allspark. Sam was not prepared to do this, and his hesitation stemmed from it. His brain was quickly working overtime on how to kill two birds with one stone. But time was not on his side. Megatron suddenly leaned over him, and suddenly it came to him. Sam decided that he could actually kill Megatron with the Allspark instead of sacrificing Optimus Prime. However, as he made the motion to thrust the Allspark into Megatron's chest, something interesting happened. The Allspark started glowing, and it blasted Megatron into the air. This did not stop it from glowing though, and suddenly, it became too hot for Sam to hold, so he immediately dropped it. The Allspark then created a vortex, and Sam was starting to get sucked into it. Before this though, electrical sparks were being generated from the Allspark, and this stuck all the Autobots and Decepticons that had been destroyed. Right before Sam's eyes, they were all reanimated, and also started getting sucked into the vortex. The force of the suction was so strong that almost all the Autobots and Decepticons were sucked in. The only reason that Sam was not sucked in yet was Optimus Prime, who was holding him far away while his legs were already being sucked into the vortex. Optimus was trying hard not to get into the portal, but Megatron had other plans. He rushed Optimus and pushed with all his might. However, Optimus knew he would not go down alone. Optimus knew that if he left Megatron on Earth with the Autobots' protection, he would destroy all mankind. This was why he tumbled with him, and they went into the vortex together. As a last resort, Optimus Prime sent a signal to the other Autobots in order for them to come to Earth as soon as possible. This was done as he tumbled through the vortex with Megatron. Immediately they entered, the vortex closed, and the Allspark was back intact again. Sam was completely bewildered at what he had seen. At this point in time, he immediately preferred his prior crossroads to this one, because he had no inkling of the next step to take. Location: Marvel's Earth. Ultron had almost won. He had almost defeated the Avengers, but what stared out attribute, and it was Vision that stopped him. However, something weird happened. While they fought, Ultron had come into contact with the Mind Stone, and this caused a reaction. The stone suddenly glowed and blasted Ultron. Shortly after this, he was defeated and became non-existent. The Avengers were victorious, and they were grateful to Vision. Because of their joy, both Vision and the Avengers had totally forgotten about the strange incident that had occurred. However, they never knew that their lives would never be the same. When Ultron had touched the Infinity Stone, He had wanted to get reinforcements, and the Mind Stone immediately read this. This was why the Autobots and Decepticons were suddenly sucked into their Earth, even though they had no idea about it. Ultron's action would go ahead to change the course of their entire universe and its events. Location: Sahara Desert. Optimus Prime suddenly found himself awakened by the harsh heat of the sun. When he opened his eyes, he was met with the unrelenting glare of Earth's closest star, and this threw him off for a while. However, Optimus took just a few seconds to process all that had happened to him, and after this he quickly leapt up and wanted to swing into action. Optimus was expecting Megatron or any of the Decepticons to be around, but they were nowhere to be found. In fact, even his Autobots were not around. This threw Optimus Prime further off, but he immediately knew what to do. Something told him that he was on a strange planet, so he planned to reunite with his Autobots. From there, they could figure out their next plan of action. However, Optimus Prime was in for a shock. "Autobots assemble," he said as he sent out a signal, but he quickly discovered something. His signal transmitter was not working at all. This threw Optimus Prime way off. This was something new to him, and he knew that he was in for a whole novel adventure. The only thing that bothered him was the well-being of his Autobots. Optimus Prime just hoped that they were okay and that Megatron or the Decepticons had not gotten to them first. With that, he immediately transformed into a truck and started moving at rapid speed in a particular direction. He could not get his coordinates due to his system misbehaving, but Optimus was smart. He used the sun to get his bearings and decided to keep on heading south. Location: Antarctica. Megatron immediately had plans of starting and causing havoc when he regained consciousness. He could not reach his Decepticons either, which only increased his rage and anger. He knew that he was in a new world, but this new world had humans, and he hated them to the core. Megatron decided that he would do everything in his power to conquer this new world. However, first, he knew that he needed to get to where the puny life forms were. He was not bothered about his location because Megatron was very resourceful. He knew he would get out of his current location in no time. Location: Manhattan. Optimus Prime knew that with his communication system jammed, he would not be able to reach the other Autobots. This was why he had to think of something, and fast. Within moments of thinking, he suddenly had an idea, and he decided to implement it quickly. Optimus Prime figured that the best step he could take was to make a public appearance so that he would be captured by the news. Hopefully, after this, he would be seen by his Autobots and they would know his general location. He had made his mind up, so he decided to get to work. He had been on the new planet for just a few days, but he discovered that they had a hero group. He was hoping that they would even help him too. Optimus wanted to accomplish the two tasks simultaneously, and he already thought of what to do. He was going to reveal himself and make it look like a crime. This was why he was at Times Square now. He was currently in truck form, but he suddenly transformed into his real form, which brought all the cars driving by to a screeching stop. A lot of screaming and yells immediately followed, but Optimus was unperturbed. As he predicted, many people brought out their mobile devices and started filming, and Optimus Prime noted that his Earth and this one were not so different after all. A few moments later, the wail of police sirens came, and journalists started covering the whole event. The cops came and demanded that he surrender, but he was not going to do it. They fired at him, but it had no effect. This made them scared to their wits. Optimus Prime continued to pay them no mind because he was waiting for the Avengers. After some time, he thought he had made a big mistake because the heroes were nowhere to be found. However, he had thought too soon. They had arrived and they shouted something about him being Ultron or one of Ultron's troops, but he did not understand. After this, they advanced at him because they saw him as a threat. Optimus did not want to hurt them, but he knew that he had to defend himself. Prime doubted that they could do any damage to him, but he was not willing to take any chances. Because of this, they descended on one another. Location: Antarctica. Megatron was still stranded in Antarctica and he was so mad. However, something happened, and this enthralled him. An alien-looking spacecraft came and landed right in front of him. Out of it came Ebony Maw. He told Megatron that his boss would like to talk to him. However, this added to his rage. He immediately rushed at Ebony Maw, but Ebony Maw simply held his hand up, and Megatron could not move his body. This action sent chills down Megatron's spine, because he had never been incapacitated like this. "You do not have a choice," Ebony Maw told Megatron. "It is either you follow me willingly or forcefully," he said, and his tone had a sense of finality. Megatron suddenly knew that he was in a very different ballgame. Now, and he nodded his head. Ebony Maw understood and dropped his hand down. Immediately, Megatron regained control of himself. After this, he immediately followed Ebony Maw into the ship. Location: Avengers headquarters. The Avengers and Optimus Prime had fought it out, even though the latter was really holding back because he wanted to partner with them. He had convinced them that he had good intentions and that he just wanted to talk. After a few minutes of bashing it out, the Avengers finally gave him an audience in their headquarters. Optimus Prime explained everything to them, including the Allspark turning into a vortex and sucking both the Autobots and Decepticons into their world. He explained his origin too, and much more, because the Avengers were eager to hear it. However, Steve suddenly asked why he had decided to be public about the fight, and at that moment, 2 cars pulled up. Optimus Prime smiled and told Steve that the 2 cars were the reason, and suddenly, they transformed into Autobots. Optimus Prime was so elated that they were still alive. He then introduced them to the members of the Avengers, who were still in shock from learning about the multiverse. Suddenly, Vision spoke. He said that he was 90% sure that the moment Ultron touched the Mind Stone was the time that the Allspark started glowing. "Is there a way back?" Optimus Prime asked, and this told the room how much he needed to go back. "Only one way to find out," Tony Stark said. Optimus Prime shared a look with his other Autobots, and even though their communication systems were non-functional, they knew exactly what he meant. They were not to talk about the Decepticons at all. Their only hope was that they had been destroyed on their way to this new Earth. Little did Optimus Prime know that his worst enemy was going to soon get his revenge on him.